How is it growing? Initially, this video was going to be a demonstration about planting this papaya in a way that will help protect it from nematodes, and we'll get to that. But since we're on the topic of papayas, there are a couple things that you should know about growing the fruit. So today we're talking 3 things you should know about growing papaya. And the number 1 thing you should know about growing papaya is the females produce fruit and the males do not. How do we know the sex? We don't until the plant flowers. And this one, just about a week or so ago, started producing blossoms. And fortunately in this one, my strongest papaya plant is a female. You grow, girl. That made it very easy for me. Now I know that I can cut the rest of these out. This one, however, started flowering too, and it's a male. See the difference? If the female has multiple blossoms, they're all pointing in the same direction, and there's one dominant blossom. However, the male has flowers going in all different directions, and it may have a longer stem that's further away from the trunk. Now, you may have noticed that when I plant these, there's actually 6 plants in this one pot. There's 4 in this, 5, 6. Why do I plant a bunch of papaya plants in one pot? Well, it's because I don't know the sex. This is a method that a lot of growers use to ensure that they have at least one female in the pot when they plant the clump together. Well, this is obviously the strongest girl. So I'm gonna get rid of all the rest so that they're not competing for nutrients. What I'll do with this one, this guy, is I'm gonna cut him out and I'm gonna send him to the compost. Sorry, man. The second thing you should know about growing papayas, ladies and gents, is with papaya plants, they are not just ladies and gents. Some are hermaphrodites, but wait, there's more. Some are transgender. I've seen it in my own garden where a male would turn into a female. They weren't quite as productive, but he became a she. I've seen claims on the internet where people have been able to shock a male into turning into a female by maybe lopping it off way down low, doing a heavy pruning, and then it sprouts up and it's a girl. If you've seen that happen, if you've done that before, leave a comment below and let me know. With starting papaya with seed, what I normally do in a smaller pot than this, I'll plant multiple seeds. Then I'm careful not to contaminate the plant as I transplant it into a sanitized pot. Once the plant is ready to move to a bigger pot, be sure to do that. Otherwise, you're going to stunt the growth. You don't want to risk contamination as you're growing them from the seed. So what I do is I always keep them up off the ground to keep them from being contaminated from the dirty life-sucking parasites. By the way, if you saw my first episode, you saw this plant at the end of the video. And this is how much she has grown from May to the end of July. Now it's time for me to get in my garden clothes and get Priscilla planted. This one is going to find another life in my compost and provide nutrients for my other plants. I got the hole dug and I'll add some compost and inoculate the roots with mycorrhizal fungi spores. This first try was too low. Papaya should be planted higher than the surrounding soil level, knowing that it will settle. And we want to use a lot of mulch. I mulch heavily around the plant, but you want to keep the mulch pulled away from the trunk or it will rot. I ended up getting much more compost to backfill the hole once Priscilla was in the ground, and I covered those exposed roots with a layer of compost. Since French marigolds produce a chemical that kills nematodes, I'll plant French marigolds around the pot. I'll give it a few months before I remove Priscilla's pot to give her a chance to sink her taproot nice and deep where most strains of nematodes cannot go. All right, if you saw my video on Cynthia Schaefer, you're gonna love my next episode where she teaches how to make kimchi. But if you got something out of my video today, please do me a huge favor. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, click on that bell so that you'll be notified when I upload videos in the future, and let's grow together.